Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen, the channel that brings you your team every day for free, guys. Just hit the sub, ring the notification bell, and you will get that content. Well, look, it's I understand now. Beale's gone. We move on. The board obviously are now in full managerial search mode, and we're going to be linked with this manager, that manager, some managers whose names will just be an absolute joke. You know, we've seen the odds. We all know what the odds are. A number of candidates there on that list are utterly unacceptable as managers. You know, they've failed in a number of places. A good mate of mine used to say there's obviously no CVs in football because, some managers keep getting employed time and time again. Now, part of the issue, I think, Rangers, when they come to make this decision, I was listening to Talk Sport today at work, and Simon Jordan was on there, and he was talking about Rangers in terms of making a decision, a football decision, and he said he was concerned that to him, the board don't seem to have any sort of football knowledge or, ability to judge what makes a good manager. He said that he felt the board were very short-sighted in terms of the team. And he made some good points. He talked about Rangers and that lot from across the city and how, we're more than comparable with those Dutch teams like Ajax and PSV, in terms of our turnover. Even though we do play in a smaller league, in a less competitive league, just like Ajax and PSV and AZ Alkmaar and Feyenoord, for example. Now, there's a number of managers out there that obviously have been linked. Now, there's a manager who has been pushed by our former Dutch contingent. Now, Arthur Newman and the De Boer brothers apparently have been talking up a manager who I'm going to talk about in a minute, so hang on for that. There's also obviously Kevin Muscat. He's come out and spoken today. First piece of news on the old managerial front, though, is that Graham Potter has come out and said that he is not interested in any way, shape or form in the job. I think that's probably, was going to be the case anyway. I think he said that previously. Graham Potter wants a Premiership job. He wants to go and work in the EPL. He doesn't want to go and work anywhere else. So, look, it's understandable. And at the end of the day, we don't want someone who doesn't want to be here. So that's fair enough. So Potter looks like he is very much out of the reckoning. So who's this Dutch candidate that's been talked of by former Dutch players at Rangers and has been pushed by them? And apparently, according to reports in the Netherlands, is very much wants to talk to Rangers. It's this man here, Pascal Jansen, he is called. He's currently the manager of AZ Alkmaar in Holland in the Eredivisie, and he's made a great start to the season with AZ and has a decent track record as well with them. Plays good, attractive, attacking football, got well-organised team, and he's got an Alkmaar team competing with the very best in Holland, with the Ajaxes, the Feyenoords, the PSVs. He is a very impressive figure. They've won 6 out of 7 games. They've scored 20 goals. Yes, they did lose their first Europa Conference League game, but it's Europe, isn't it? So, but in terms of this man Pascal Jansen, he's someone that has apparently been pushed by Michael Mols, by Arthur Newman, and by the De Boer brothers as a good candidate for Rangers. So, maybe we have to have some trust in what our former Dutch contingent are saying. In terms of Jansen's managerial record, he started his career with young PSV. He coached the youth team at PSV Eindhoven, 74 games, 33 victories, 18 defeats, 23 losses, 18 draws, 23 losses, positive 11 goal difference, 44.59% win percentage. You can't often tell a lot by youth football. It's a sort of very inconsistent thing. But let's take, for example, his record as AZ Alkmaar manager. He took over on the 5th of December 2020 as their full-time manager. He's managed them for 145 games. He's won 87 of them, 23 draws, 35 defeats, 293 goals scored, 159 conceded, a positive goal difference of 134 over those seasons, and a win percentage of 60%. That's a pretty decent win percentage, considering obviously, you come up against Feyenoord, Ajax, and PSV twice a season, plus Twente, Ashende, a decent team as well. So not a bad record. So Jansen is one person who is one of the early names to be linked with the club. An interesting name. Certainly someone I'd want to do some more research into. Certainly someone I would, hope the board do speak to. But, going back to Simon Jordan's point about, needing some football experience, that's why I personally feel that a director of football is very much what we need at the club. Someone with some football knowledge, with some background knowledge to kind of, to give the board some insight into what makes a manager and what type of manager they should be going for. That's definitely what is needed. Now, the other name that has been linked is Kevin Muscat. Kevin Muscat is a former Rangers player. His CV very much contains work that he's done in Australia, in the A-League, and in Japan with the Yokohama Marinas. That's where he's had most of his career. Apparently, Muscat does want to move to Europe, and he wants to follow a similar route to his mentor, who was, yes, Ange Postecoglou. Now, look, we all have our feelings about Big Ange, don't we? We don't, we hate him because of the Celtic thing. You've got to say, though, he's doing a decent job at Tottenham. So, fair enough to that. But at the end of the day, my concern over Muscat is very much that he hasn't got a European track record. His experience is all in terms of Australia and in Japan. But then I suppose you can argue by that, well, that was the same with Postecoglou, and look at the job that he did at Celtic. You look at Muscat's managerial career. He was caretaker of Melbourne Victory, manager then full-time between 2013 and 2019, went to St. Truden for a very limited amount of time. And then from 2021, he's been the Yokohama Marinos coach. In terms of his managerial statistics, his win percentage at Melbourne was 49%. His win percentage with Yokohama is 56%. With St. Truden, it was only 13%. He was actually sacked after 15 games. He's won a A-League title. He has won a Japanese league title, a J-League title. But, does that really stand him instead of being the man for Rangers? I'd have concerns about Muscat. Certainly would. I do think we do need to have someone with a little bit more experience, a little bit more, more about them. But look, at the end of the day, we are going to be linked with hundreds of names of managers between now and when an appointment is actually made. We obviously have to get behind Stephen Davis, Alex Ray, as they take the team forward over the next couple of games. And then obviously, as John Bennett said, there is no rush for an appointment. But already interesting names been linked. Pascal Janssen, Kevin Muscat, obviously the Potter now has gone. There's other names that have been, we'll put their names forward, and there'll be, I'd imagine, quite a few candidates who would want to come to the club. But for me, it's an appointment that Rangers must get right. And that's why I think we need someone with some football experience in there as part of the recruitment process. It was interesting listening to Simon Jordan today, and he was talking about when he was chairman of Palace, how initially when he made appointments, he said he got them badly wrong because he knew nothing about football. When it came to further down the line and it came to appointing managers, he turned to other football experts, footballers who'd actually coached, and got them to make up shortlists for him to talk to before he actually made appointments. People who were in the know. And I think Rangers have got have got a wealth of people that they could turn to and get, to help them with this recruitment process, to put their spin on what needs to be a manager. I mean, one of the primary candidates, obviously, is Graham Souness. I'm sure that he could play a role in helping Rangers to find the next manager. Souness doesn't want to be a manager, so that he would very much have that unbiased opinion. So it could be that we turn to someone like him, a club legend. There's a number of other people, Ali McCoist, for example. There's lots of ex-Rangers players. There's lots of football experts out there. You could actually get involved in this process. But I do think a director of football needs to be appointed before the manager needs to be appointed. But leaving yourself in a position where you've got neither a director of football or a manager is a really bad thing to have done. And Rangers really should have appointed a director of football before now. You've got to wonder, was that because Michael Beale didn't want one? Or was that because James Bisgrove hadn't obviously got around to doing it? Or he had ultimate faith in Beale, which was obviously misplaced. Well, let me know what you think of the names you've mentioned in this video, guys, and any other names that you like and who you think. Certainly don't like the link to Sam Allardyce. Don't think that's a goer. I think he's long past his best. But as always, please hit the sub, ring the notification bell, and two things I always need you to do. Number one, smash the like, and number two, remember, we are the people.